Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about this beautiful gentleman who just can't seem to catch a break. Now, if my memory doesn't fail me, this actually in fact happens to be third time Kabam is trying to rework Civil Warrior, and I think they have actually made him worse. Now, I understand this is very controversial opinion and not everybody is going to agree with me, and that's perfectly fine. I wouldn't want everybody to agree to my opinions, otherwise they wouldn't be interesting and or worth watching. However, I do still firmly believe that Civil Warrior was better pre-buff. And let me explain, and if by end of the video you still disagree with me, that's fine. You can leave in the comment section, you can call me a moron or some stupid Eastern European who shouldn't be even attempting to speak English. But there are a couple of things that are definitely worth talking about. And first and foremost, when it comes to Civil Warrior's new kit, the immediate red flag that I saw was the Fury duration and the way that Fury mechanic worked. Now, Furies themselves on Civil Warrior are attained by dashing back and holding block for 1.2 seconds. Then you convert every single armor buff that you have into a 12-second Fury. Sounds cool, but there are several problems with that. Number one, the Fury lasts only 12 seconds, and considering that if you want to refresh and get more and more Furies, you basically have to do that every 10 seconds. It's borderline impossible. Now think about champions like, let's say, Nightcrawler and switching Nightcrawler's modes, or a whole bunch of other champions, Call Obsidian. And those are the champions that have to do that once, twice, or maximum 3 times a fight. Even Falcon, it is an annoyance and you can get it done, but you don't end up doing it too frequently. You do it 2-3 times a fight and that's it, an average length fight. And you have longer kind of like actual fighting time with your ability activated. And it is very significant part of every champion's kit. Now, going into the fight knowing that you will have to dash back and you will have to like hold that block, it's not a deal breaker per se to do it once or twice, but it is something that you are always mentally aware, and that is something that poses a challenge, a problem, possibly depending on AI, because you never know how aggressive opponent's AI is going to be when they're going to start spamming heavy attacks or what is going to happen in a fight. And again, it is a challenge or an obstacle that we are willing to face once or twice in a fight, but not every 10 seconds. Realistically, when you're using Civil Warrior, you end up doing that after every single combo. That's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. Another problem is the fact that you are effectively burning off all your armor buffs, and thus you do end up taking a lot of damage on a block with this kind of like combination of abilities. And I think if they actually wanted to make Civil Warrior better, they should have went the route of Colossus. And rather than having him dash back every 1.2 seconds and then convert his armor ups into Furies, they should have just tied some sort of attack increase ability to his armor like they do with Colossus. So he gains, I don't know, 100 attack per each armor or 500 attack per each armor and some critical damage and critical rating, something like that, instead of having to choose either or, because that has a very big alternative cost and very impractical playstyle now. On top of all of that, as on top of adding unrealistic damage, they took away a lot of his utility. They took away his opponent's ability accuracy reduction, and they made his interaction with bleed and poison abilities significantly worse. Previously, you could actually end up using Civil Warrior to heal from poison and bleed debuffs if you had plenty of armor ups, because you reduced the potency. Now, if the bleed is activated, the duration of it is exactly the same, and the damage you take from it is exactly the same. So you can't heal using bleed and poison debuffs on yourself anymore. So that is a very significant change that has made the champion worse once more. And possibly the biggest issue with Civil Warrior is that the best thing about him was his animation set and the way he was able to perform in a fight. He's one of very few champions in this game that can go into heavy attack straight after his level 2, and also go into his level 2 straight after heavy attack. Combined with power drain abilities, it actually ends up in a very kind of cool half loop where you can do a lot of heavy attacks, level 2 more heavy attacks, and keep up on a heal blocks all the time. But if you do that, you can't access any of your damage. Therefore, in ideal rotation, the rotation that Civil Warrior was best in you end up with less than you did before, because you can't access your Fury buffs, and your utility has been gimped. And that's my argument for why he's worse off as a champion. I will play Civil Warrior as he is meant to be played. So here's the fight start, and basically I'm gonna be just dropping my regular combos, dropping my level 1s, and converting every single armor buff that I gain into Fury, and end up doing good amount of damage. And let's face it, Civil Warrior damage after the buff is good once you ramp him up. The ramp up isn't the quickest, maintenance is borderline impossible, and it's not like it's crazy game-breaking amazing damage. It's good, but that's about it. You wouldn't say that 50 Fury Civil Warrior is like the hardest hitting champion in the game, or even top 5. And on top of all of that, even in conditions such as this, even in Realm of Legends, where opponents don't have level 3, where opponents don't have any problems getting parried, where opponents don't have any other nodes or utilities that you would have to keep an eye out for, like, I don't know, Bane, Brute Force, or whatever. It's basically as 1-0 a fight, as easy, as straightforward fight as you will ever find against as easy of an opponent as it's possible. It's still occasionally hard to maintain those Furies, and several times I come very, very, very close to actually losing all my damage output just because opponent decided that he wants to spam some heavy attacks, and I had to dash back and cancel my charge, like right here. Very last second I managed to do that. And keep in mind, this is up against Realm of Legends champion who does not have a large amount of attack, who isn't hitting very hard. The amount of blocked hits that I take in this fight would have knocked me out if that was a Q map 7, and even if Civil Warrior was rank 5. It's unrealistic to have champion take this many blocked hits in a single fight just so you can ramp up his damage. That is very, very large part of the reason why it's going to be borderline impossible to play this guy in majority of the fights where you'd hope he's going to be good at. Alright, so we can see that at this point I have 45 Furies, 75 hits in the fight, so he has taken me 70 fights to actually get to my max damage output. Which is fair, which is longer than I'd want most fights to last, but fair, he's a ramp up champion. And here we saw 30k crit, definitely a decent amount of damage. And to be fair, Suicide Masteries are unnecessary in Civil Warrior, and yeah, I'm taking a lot of recall damage, so that doesn't really affect too much there. It's just a comment that Civil Warrior is not suicide friendly, even though previously he was more suicide friendly. But I'll let that slip for now. But the point is, so this is how a fight looks with Civil Warrior now if you want to maintain that high damage output. It's just stupid. It's impractical, and it's horrible. You would not want to use a champion if you had to play him like this all the time. Right? At least I don't. And now let's take a second clip. In the second clip, I'm going to be playing Civil Warrior in a manner that I used to do before. I'm going to be playing Civil Warrior in a manner how I believe he should be played, and is part of the reason why I liked Civil Warrior before. And it has all to do with his extremely smooth animations from level 2 into his heavy attack into level 2. So here we're going to see I'm pushing to level 2. I think he's going to throw his special attack here in a second. I'm going to drop a combo. Okay, I'm going to get a few Furies. I'm not focusing on getting Furies. I'm just focusing on like a smooth gameplay for the most part. So you can see level 2 immediately in heavy attack. Heal block is applied. Dropping 3 heavy attacks in a row. Bait out opponent's special attack. Took the liberty to convert my armor ups into a few Furies. And again, I'm just going to parry, going to 5-hit combo. And after 5-hit combo, I'm dropping level 2 and immediately going to heavy attack. Now, this is fun. This is good playstyle that's practical, that's realistic. And that was the best part about Civil Warrior. That plus the heal block, plus the armor ups, plus everything else was why I liked Civil Warrior. And they have taken this away from him to a degree. Because if you want to play Civil Warrior in this manner, if you want to play Civil Warrior how he is ideally to be played, you can't access any of that newfound damage. And you have less utility than you did before. That is why I argue that Civil Warrior right now is worse than he did before. Because the new playstyle completely forbids you from using the best rotations Civil Warrior has, and has taken away your utility. Before buff, his damage in this fight was effectively pretty much the same. But at the very least, I was able to heal a bit more from Suicide Masteries, and I had opponent's ability accuracy reduction, so if I do mess up and I get hit in the face, I probably wouldn't have gotten stunned or power drained or whatever by Winter Soldier. But now you guys are going to see that I'm going to mess up, and yeah, all the Winter Soldier abilities are going to trigger, and I'm going to get power drained, and I'm going to be in a world of trouble because of it. And yes, therefore, my point stands that Civil Warrior has actually been made worse after his quote-unquote buff than he was before. And also, my argument stands to reason that whoever buffed Civil Warrior knows nothing about the champion and approached it in completely the wrong way. Took away the best things about Civil Warrior and focused on something that's unrealistic, unattainable, impractical, stupid. So here we can see I had armor buff. I would not have possibly gotten power drained. I would not have possibly gotten stunned. Now I did. Fury mechanic that he has now is a gimmick that you're not going to use in vast majority of the fights, or you're probably going to end up taking crap ton of unnecessary block damage if you ever try to use it in a serious content. I think his utility is worse than it was before. Therefore, he as a champion is worse than he was before. And again, if you disagree with me, that is perfectly fine. I encourage you to go to the comment section and tell me how wrong I am, but that is my opinion. That is why I will not advise anybody to rank up Civil Warrior right now, and that is quite frankly why I suggest Kabam take Civil Warrior, try and have another stab at it. This would be 4th attempt at buffing Civil Warrior, because the 3rd one arguably made him even worse than he was before. Wow, that is annoying. Either way, that's me done for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about